Now, before we get to the massive behemoths, we have to look at this fascinating milestone. During the Jurassic period, about 150 million years ago, Europe was home to Archaeopteryx. It was pretty small, only about 20 inches tall, but it's an incredible transitional marvel. It beautifully bridged the evolutionary gap between dinosaurs and birds, perfectly blending newly evolved feathers with a distinctively reptilian skeleton. It's like a giant puzzle piece of evolution coming together.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer, terrifying scale of Titanoboa. About 60 million years ago during the Paleocene, this absolute monster roamed the coastal swamps and rivers of what is now northeastern Colombia. To put this in perspective with modern snakes, Titanoboa reached up to 47 feet long and weighed a staggering 2,500 pounds. It was incredibly thick, exceeding a full meter in diameter. Just imagine a snake thicker than a standard doorway, sliding through the water. Unbelievable.
And if you thought the rivers were intimidating, consider that 30x multiplier. Between 23 and 3.6 million years ago, Megalodon patrolled the global oceans, weighing 30 times more than a modern great white shark. It possessed the strongest bite force of any known animal in history, perfectly adapted for hunting small whales, right up until changing global temperatures altered its food supply.
Let's get a sense of the incredible Australian megafauna. The sheer scale of these creatures living side by side is mind-blowing. We had Megalania, a 7.9-meter giant monitor lizard that actually utilized venomous saliva. Right beside it was Diprotodon, standing 1.8 meters tall with inturned feet, literally a car-sized giant wombat. And sharing that exact same landscape was Thylacoleo, the marsupial lion, a 160-kilogram carnivore equipped with a massive, raptor-like killing thumb claw. But what's absolutely vital to notice here is their shared extinction timeline. They all clustered around 40,000 to 50,000 years ago, vanishing from the semi-arid plains and forests together.
Meanwhile, over in the freezing circumpolar steppe tundra of northern Eurasia and North America, we had the iconic woolly mammoth. And this brilliantly illustrates how species perfectly adapted to harsh environments. Standing 3.4 meters tall, they rocked a shaggy double-layer woolly coat, remarkably short ears and tail specifically designed to retain heat, and massive, spiraled ivory tusks. Most of the mainland mammoths actually died out about 10,000 years ago, though a tiny, isolated population managed to hold on at Wrangel Island until just 4,000 years ago.
At that exact same time, around 10,000 to 11,000 years ago, the Americas and Eurasia were losing some highly specialized beasts of their own. The saber-tooth cat, or Smilodon, was an incredibly agile predator using its curved 12-inch-long canine teeth to pounce on prey straight out of the trees. Over in Eurasia, the Irish elk wandered the open plains as the largest deer species ever, standing 12 feet tall with antlers that stretch an astounding 12 feet from tip to tip. And in the Americas, the ground sloth was this towering, slow-moving herbivore armed with massive claws.
Now, this is where the story takes a darker turn. Consider these two incredibly unique island birds, both wiped out by the 17th and 18th centuries. On Mauritius, we had the dodo, a flightless, bulbous, 3-foot-tall bird that was entirely unafraid of humans. Over on Madagascar, there was the elephant bird, an ostrich-like giant weighing half a ton, famous today for producing massive, priceless, fossilized eggs. Because they were so uniquely adapted to isolated islands without natural land predators, they were highly vulnerable. When the modern world showed up, they were rapidly wiped out.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a literal time machine journey through Earth's most fascinating extinct creatures. You know, the history of life on our planet is an absolute masterclass in extreme adaptation. It's filled with apex predators and towering giants that successfully ruled right here on Earth. Well, until the rules of survival completely changed. Okay, let's dive right into this. You might be wondering what on earth connects a literal car-sized wombat, an 18-meter prehistoric shark, and a majestic creature known as the goddess of the Yangtze. Well, they're all spectacular closed chapters in the story of Earth's biodiversity. Throughout this explainer, we're going to trace the narrative of extinction and see exactly how it's drastically shifted from a very slow background force over millions of years into something much, much more immediate.
All right, Section 1, Rulers of Deep Time, Ancient Aquatic Worlds.
To really wrap our heads around the mind-boggling scale of geological history we're about to explore, we need to anchor ourselves in deep time. We're talking 500 million, 450 million, and 360 million years ago. This is an era long, long before the first dinosaur ever even took a breath.
The creatures swimming in those ancient oceans were just completely bizarre. They were developing these highly specialized traits for early evolutionary arms races. First, consider anomalocaries from the global Cambrian oceans, roughly 500 million years ago. This was a 3-foot-long marine predator, equipped with grasping appendages, complex compound eyes, and a very weird disc-shaped mouth used to crush early shelled prey. Then, if we jump to 450 million years ago in the Late Ordovician, we meet Sacabambaspis from Gondwana. It had a slender, tadpole-like body, heavy dermal armor for defense, and these crazy forward-facing headlight eyes. But the wildest adaptation? It completely lacked a jawbone. Instead, it survived with a fixed, open, D-shaped mouth. How wild is that?
Fast forward to the Devonian period, about 360 million years ago, and we find a true monster of the global oceans, Dunkleosteus. This was a massive armored fish, but the really terrifying part was its mouth. It didn't actually have normal teeth. Its jaws were entirely composed of massive, sharpened bony plates that could shear through absolutely anything in its path. Dunkleosteus represents a really fascinating time when extinction was just a slow, mysterious, and entirely natural background force on our planet.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Age of Giants, Earth's largest beasts.
Which brings us to Section 3, Ice Age Megafauna, Bizarre Proportions.
Section 4, Modern World Losses, the Human Era.
So the crucial point is this. The timeline accelerates even more as we enter the Industrial Era. Compare the quagga to the Thylacine. The quagga was a South African subspecies of zebra, heavily hunted to extinction for its meat and skins by 1883. Fast forward just a few decades to 1936, and the world lost the Thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger. It was a shy, nocturnal, dog-like marsupial with distinct stripes across its lower back and an incredibly wide-opening jaw. You see, extinction shifted dramatically from a gradual planetary cycle into a highly active, directly human-driven phenomenon.
Which unfortunately leads us to a loss in our very recent memory. In 2002, the Baiji, a majestic Chinese river dolphin affectionately known as the goddess of the Yangtze, was declared lost. And this wasn't due to shifting ice ages or natural predators. It was lost to industrial pollution. This is the modern cultural and environmental cost of extinction, and it's happening in real time, right in front of us.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. Extinction was once a slow force of nature, driven by shifting continents, changing climates, and deep time. But are we now that force? The sheer fragility of our current ecosystem is something we all literally hold in our hands today. Thank you so much for joining me to learn about these magnificent lost creatures, and I really hope this sparks your curiosity to protect the incredible biodiversity we still have.